What if the worst financial decision of your life didn't feel like a mistake when you made it? What if it felt like finally catching a break? Like someone had chosen you, out of everyone, to share something rare, something real, something that could change everything? That feeling, that specific feeling of hope mixed with excitement, mixed with just a little bit of disbelief. That is exactly where it begins. And right now, all across the UK, tens of thousands of ordinary people are sitting inside that feeling. Some of them are about to lose everything they have spent decades building. This video isn't about reckless people making reckless choices. It never is. This is about careful people, people like you, being outmaneuvered by something they were never taught to recognize. Stay with me for the next few minutes. Because what I'm about to show you is something most people only understand after it's too late. We're going to go inside the mechanics of modern investment fraud, not in a boring surface level way, but in a way that actually explains why it works, who it targets, and what the warning signs look like before most people even realize there's a warning to read. By the end of this, you won't just know what to avoid. You'll understand how you were being influenced, and that knowledge is worth more than any return rate someone could ever promise you. Before we go any further, if you've ever worried about making the wrong financial decision, or if someone in your life has already been hurt by something like this, please take 1 second to like this video and subscribe to this channel, because the truth is, Nick, this content doesn't reach people by accident. It reaches them because someone cared enough to share it, and one day you might be very glad it found you when it did. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever felt the gap between where you are financially and where you thought you'd be by now? Most people have, and that gap, that quiet, persistent anxiety about savings, about retirement, about whether you're doing enough, is not a weakness. It's just reality for a huge number of working adults in this country. You're not greedy, you're not naive, you're just trying to make your money work harder than it currently does. And in a world of rising costs, low interest rates, and constant noise about people making it through investing, it's completely natural to be open to opportunity. That openness is not the problem. It never was. The problem is that someone, somewhere, has spent a very long time studying exactly how to exploit it. Here's the shift that most people need to hear. We tend to imagine financial scams as something obvious, a clumsy email from a foreign prince, a phone call with a bad accent, and a script that sounds nothing like how real people speak. Something you'd spot immediately and laugh off. But that version of fraud barely exists anymore. What exists now is something far more sophisticated and far more dangerous precisely because it doesn't feel dangerous. Today's investment scam looks like a polished website. It sounds like a confident professional. It shows up in your inbox with your name spelled correctly and language that mirrors exactly how legitimate financial firms communicate. It says the criminals behind it have done their homework. And if you're not doing yours, the gap between them and you is much wider than most people are comfortable admitting. Consider someone like David. David is 53. He's worked in logistics management for most of his adult life. He's careful with money, has always been. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't make impulsive purchases. He has a pension, a mortgage nearly paid off, and around £40,000 set aside from years of disciplined saving. One afternoon, he gets a call from a company he's never heard of. They're professional, unhurried, and they don't try to sell him anything on that first call. They just talk about the markets, about opportunities he might have missed, about how their clients, people a lot like him, have done very well over the last few years. They call back 3 days later, then again the week after. By the third conversation, David feels like he knows them, trusts them even. They've never been pushy. They've given him information. They've treated him like an intelligent adult. He invests £15,000. Then, after a few months of watching his portfolio grow on a very convincing online dashboard, he invests the rest. The dashboard is fake. The company never existed. The money is gone. What David couldn't see was that the calm, the patience, the professionalism, all of it was deliberate. Every stage of that process was engineered specifically to build trust before delivering the blow. The first truth is this: this is not a rare problem. According to UK police data, investment fraud is rising at an alarming rate. In 2025 alone, its victims reportedly lost an average of £1,675 every single minute. Every single minute. And the people behind those numbers are not unusual. They're not reckless. They are teachers, retirees, small business owners, parents trying to secure something for their children. Investing itself isn't the problem. Markets are real. Legitimate opportunities exist. But the environment around investing has become a hunting ground. And most people walking into it have no idea that they're being watched. But it gets deeper. The reason modern investment fraud is so effective isn't just because scammers have gotten bolder. It's because they've gotten smarter about human psychology. They understand that most people don't make financial decisions based purely on logic. They make them based on how something feels. And so, the entire architecture of a modern investment scam is designed to generate specific feelings: safety, excitement, exclusivity, and most powerfully of all, trust. They use professional branding that looks identical to regulated firms. They use language borrowed directly from legitimate financial communication. They create urgency without sounding urgent. They mirror your concerns back to you as if they understand your exact situation, because in many cases, they have done research on you. Today's scams don't feel like scams. They feel like opportunity. And that is why so many careful, thoughtful people fall for them. This is the part that changes everything when you first understand it. One of the most common tactics in use right now involves entirely fabricated investment platforms. Websites that look completely legitimate, them with live price charts, account dashboards, customer service portals, and even fake regulatory registration numbers. People deposit money, they watch it grow on screen. Sometimes they are even allowed to withdraw small amounts early on. A deliberate move to build confidence before the bigger ask. Then, when they try to access their larger balance, they're told there are fees, taxes, compliance holds. Each new obstacle is designed to extract more money before the entire thing disappears. The warning signs are almost always there in hindsight. Guaranteed returns that seem too consistent. URLs that are one letter different from a real firm. Pressure to act before a window closes. Before trusting any investment opportunity, always verify the source through the Financial Conduct Authority's official register, not a link you were given. Nay, the actual FCA website, searched independently. That one habit alone can stop most of this in its tracks. And this is where most people get it wrong. They verify the name of the company, but they verify it using the link they were sent, which the scammer controls. Almost nobody talks about this next part clearly enough. We are now living in a moment where it is technically possible to take the face and voice of someone you trust, a well-known investor, a financial commentator, someone you've watched for years, and generate a completely convincing video of them recommending a specific investment opportunity, one that they have never heard of and would never endorse. These AI-generated videos are already being used. They circulate on social media. They look real because, in every technical sense, they are. And the mouth movements are right. The vocal pattern is right. The confidence is real. The only thing that isn't real is what they're saying. If you ever see a video from a trusted public figure that seems unusually specific, naming a platform, giving a link, creating urgency around a particular investment, treat that as a red flag, not a green light. The more convincing it is, the more carefully you should question it. Now here's the most cynical layer of all of this. Once someone has been defrauded, they don't just lose money. They lose something harder to recover. They lose their confidence in their own judgment. They feel ashamed, confused, desperate to find a way to undo what happened. And the people who ran the original scam know this. Sometimes they run it again. Recovery fraud targets people who have already been victimized. Yet someone contacts them, often posing as a legal firm, a fraud recovery specialist, or even a government agency, and tells them they've identified who took the money and they can get it back for a fee, payable up front. The fee is paid, nothing is recovered, because there was never any recovery to begin with. Be cautious of anyone who contacts you unexpectedly with an offer to recover lost funds, especially if they want payment before they do anything. Legitimate fraud recovery resources in the UK, including Action Fraud, do not charge victims for assistance. I want to pause here for a moment because this is heavy material and it touches a lot of people personally. Have you, or someone you know, ever been caught up in something like this? Maybe you lost money. Maybe you caught it just in time. Maybe there's a part of you that isn't quite sure whether something you're currently looking at is legitimate. If any of that is true, leave a comment. You don't have to share details. Just knowing you're not alone in this changes something. Before you trust any investment opportunity, any of them, run through these 5 questions. Not quickly, honestly. First, does the return on offer seem unusually consistent or guaranteed? Real investments carry real risk. Anyone telling you otherwise is either lying or doesn't understand what they're selling. Second, were you contacted unexpectedly? Legitimate investment firms don't cold call you out of nowhere with exclusive opportunities. The unsolicited contact is itself the first warning sign. Third, is there pressure to act quickly? Urgency is a tool. It is almost always manufactured. The point is to stop you thinking clearly before you commit. Fourth, does it feel exclusive, like something not everyone gets access to? That feeling of being specially chosen is one of the most reliably effective psychological levers in the entire toolkit. It works because it feels good. That's exactly why it's used. Fifth, has the person or platform worked unusually hard to make you feel understood, valued, or trusted before you've given them any reason to trust them? If even one of these feels true about something in front of you right now, it is worth stepping back, not running, just pausing. Here's the uncomfortable truth underneath all of this. The reason these scams keep working, year after year at increasing scale, isn't just because the scammers are clever. It's because the desire to feel financially secure is one of the most deeply human things that exists. We want to look after ourselves. We want to protect the people we love. We want to feel like we're not falling behind. And in a world that seems to reward those who move fast and take risks, the idea of waiting, of being careful, can start to feel like weakness. But it isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The most dangerous financial decisions most people ever make are the ones they made when they were afraid, when they were hopeful, when they were looking for someone to tell them that the gap between where they are and where they want to be could close quickly. That gap is real, and it deserves a real answer, not a convincing fake one. So here's what actually works. Always verify independently. If an investment opportunity comes to you through any channel, call, email, social media, a video, go directly to the FCA register at fca.org.uk and search for the firm yourself. Not using any link you were given. Directly. Take your time deliberately. If anything, at any point, creates a sense of urgency. Treat that urgency as information. Ask yourself, why does this need to happen today? Legitimate opportunities don't expire in 48 hours. Talk to someone you trust before committing. Not someone the opportunity introduced you to. Someone who has nothing to gain from your decision. And if something has already gone wrong, report it to Action Fraud at actionfraud.police.uk. Not because you'll necessarily get the money back, but because every report helps build the picture that eventually catches the people doing this. We started this video with a question. What if the worst financial decision of your life didn't feel like a mistake when you made it? Now you know the answer. it wouldn't feel like a mistake. It would feel like an opportunity. It would feel like trust. It would feel like someone finally understanding what you needed. That's not a failure of character. It's a failure of information. And now you have more of it. This isn't about living in fear of every financial decision you'll ever make. Investing is real. Growth is possible. The people who profit most from you being afraid of legitimate opportunities are, ironically, the same ones trying to exploit your fear of falling behind. The goal isn't paralysis, it's clarity. Stay curious. Ask better questions. Slow down at exactly the moments when something is telling you to speed up. If this video helped you think differently about something, or if it reminded you of someone who needs to hear it, please share it. That single action might be worth more than you realize to the right person at the right time. Like this video, subscribe to The Truth About Life, and check out the next video on your screen. Because sometimes, the most important thing you can know is what you didn't know you were missing.